Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to our community initiative. This is the second community initiative for 2023. Today's topic is the friendship relationship. We had our first community initiative on the 29th of March, and that was about the love relationship. Those of you that have missed the webinar, you're welcome to go and find the recording. It's on the Shadowmatch calendar. If you go to shadowmatch.com and you click on calendar in the top menu, you will find the events tab 2023. And if you go to the 29th of March, you will find the YouTube link. As you have seen, we are also recording today's session because this becomes part of our library of resources. We will make the link available on the calendar by tomorrow, and you're welcome then to also share the link with other people and those that could not make it to join today for the webinar. My name is Lizette de Villiers. I will be the host today. I'm going to shortly hand to our presenter, Peter de Villiers. He's the author and functional developer of the Shadowmatch system and currently still holds the role as head of research and development at Shadowmatch. You're welcome to make use of the chat. If you would like to ask a question or just post a comment, you would have seen that your microphone is currently in the forced mute setting, and I will enable the microphone to be unmuted once Peter has finished his presentation, and you will then be welcome to ask questions live. I think that's all from my side for now. Thank you very much, Peter. Over to you.
Thank you, Lizette, and welcome everybody. This is a Shadowmatch community initiative, as Lizette rightly said. We built the system to help people build their lives and to be successful with their lives. So our aim is the broad community, obviously, but the success of people is our bottom line. And our saying is success for all. The reason for this is that I started the process of trying to understand what failure does to people, and it's not a good thing. So we want to rather prevent failure, and if somebody has gone through an experience of failure, we would like to help them recover from it. If we look at relationships, the one thing most people end up in their quest for help, especially on an emotional and a functional level, as a result of relationships that do not work well. Relationships can destroy people's lives. It can destroy a family. It can destroy, obviously, it can destroy a marriage, it can destroy the children in a family, it can destroy a community, it can even destroy a country, and we can be witness of that in our own country, where we see how we battle to get the relationships right between all the different groups and the different identities in the world and in our country. So relationships are quite important, and I have tried to build a model that is easy to understand, that we can use in a practical and functional manner, and we will go through that. And then today we will talk about one specific relationship frame. And as we go, I will obviously share with you what we have done and what we will be doing in the rest of the year to follow. I want to share my screen with you so that we just stay in touch with one another in terms of the topics that we discuss and where we are with the with whatever we want to talk about. And we talk about a community initiative around friendship relationships. Now, what I have done, dear participants, is that I have developed this model. Now, at the end of our discussion today, I will share with you the information where you can read about this model that I have developed, how you can download the book, and on the pages and the page reference to the book where you can read about the theory behind this model. It works like this. We have above this line, we have two-way relationships. In other words, these relationships, friendships and business, they are dependent on both parties to sort of bring equal weight and equal energy and equal value and equal effort into the relationship so that both parties benefit from the relationship. The two below the line are one-directional relationships. So a love relationship is And the most basic way of thinking about this is the love that a mother and a father have for a child that is 3 months old, or 1 month old, or 5 months, or 10 months, or 2 years old. The child cannot do something to give back or reward them for their love, and in that way have an exchange of values. So one-directional relationship, and that is the purest form of a love relationship. It is a relationship where the one individual is in love with the other, and there's no expectation to get something back and out of the relationship as a reward. That's business. To do something for somebody with the expectation of getting something back so that there's a win-win or a lose-lose, whatever it might be, that's business. And then we have a security relationship where the one person is dependent on the other for their well-being, their security, their caretaking, and that is also a one-directional relationship in many instances, and we will talk about that in time to come. The previous community initiative was about the love relationship. So today we're going to focus on friendship, and then the next one will be about business, and then the last one will be about this tough one, this very difficult one around security. Friendship is the easy relationship to understand and to work with, but it's also one of the most valuable points in our relationships and the frameworks of our relationships. Isabel Norton said, in a friend you find a second self. This is such a fabulous statement. It's such a true statement, because what we experience with friendships is that people find something about themselves in the other person. And that's actually the core, one of the core aspects of a friendship relationship is we find something about ourselves in the other person. So let's have a look at the key aspects of friendship. Now, try to think about your relationships with friends and try to make this information part of your working knowledge by going with me through these bullet points. It's a social relationships. That's the first point that we must keep in mind. It is a relationship where we are satisfied in terms of our social needs. We express ourselves in a social context with other people, be it 1, 2, or 3, or 5 of our friends, but it's a connection for the social togetherness of the individuals in the relationship. The focus is shared interest and physical distance. This is quite important. Unless we have shared interest, we can't find something about ourselves in the other person. And this is how we must make these philosophical statements practical and workable. What I must find is I must find something about myself in the other person. So if I am interested in gardening, or I'm interested in whatever it might be, in fishing, or playing squash, or golf, or tennis, or whatever it might be, and the other party has the same interest, I find in that person something about myself, and that creates the connection with the other person. The second part of this bullet point is, I should have separated them, it's physical distance. 20 minutes traveling time. The moment a friendship needs more than 20 minutes physical traveling time, the chances of that relationship to be a sustainable one becomes less, and the risk of the relationship to die down improves. It becomes better for the relationship to die. But if they are closer to one another, it strengthens the relationship. Now, if the traveling time is 30 minutes and more, we battle to see that this is a relationship. It might be somebody you know, somebody that you have a good connection with, but a friendship relationship is something that there's a pattern of repetition in it. In other words, we see one another often, and often can't really define often, but it seems like from a research point of view, most friends, in answering the question, how often do you see your close friends? It's about 1 in 10 days, every fortnight, 2 times a month, in other words. But once a month is not seen as often, and most friendships start to die down if it's less than once a month of a physical togetherness. I'm not talking about I Zoom with my children in Australia or in New York or Canada or wherever they are, and we have a 30 minutes Zoom session. This is sort of plan B to sustain the relationship that we have with somebody, but it's not friendship anymore. And by the way, parent-child relationships is just a small portion friendship. It's a love relationship. Okay, so number 3, shared activities are critical. Now, this is what all the research, and there are lots of research that's been done on this. If the parties in the relationship do not share activities, doing things together, the relationship is not sustainable. The relationship starts to die down. It becomes gray. There's no energy in it. They talk from time to time. They have the same interests. But if they don't do things together of an activity with an activity nature, in other words, we go play golf together, or we go play squash, or we go fishing together, or we ride motorcycles to the dam, or whatever it might be. So if we don't do these things together, the relationship is at risk. It's a relationship of joy. There's no other purpose for friendship. It's to fulfill our need to be happy. And happiness is obviously one of the things that we live for. We live to be happy. And the relationships around friendships fulfill that need, that it's a joyful activity that we enjoy with other people, that we have a connection with, because we could find something about ourselves in their lives, be it doing certain things together, shared interest, blah, 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 whatever it might be. There are no strings attached. Friendships do not say, yes, but you remember 3 weeks ago, I phoned you, and since then you didn't phone me. No. Or friendship doesn't have, the previous time we had a get together, I brought some cold drinks, and now we get together again and you didn't bring cold. That's business. That's business. That's defining your relationship with the principles that are related to the business relationship side of things. We don't do that. Friends don't do it. And I know that if we go for a weekend away with friends, and then one of the couple must pay all the time for everything, then it becomes a bit of a scratchy thing, and we don't want that to happen. But it shouldn't happen in a friendship. Friends, it should not happen in a friendship relationship. There's something wrong if it happens, and the relationship must then rather start to gray out and disappear. And all you do is do nothing. The relationship focuses on each other through shared activities. The connection is with one another is as a result of our shared connection with the fact that we go to gym together, we go cycling together, we go fishing, the things we do together, and the shared interest that we have in these activities brings us, and we bond as a result of the glue of being together around a shared interest or activity that we enjoy. Regular contact is the glue to the relationship. If there's no contact, regular, once a month, the relationship doesn't actually exist. It's somebody you know, and from time to time you have tea together or coffee, but it's not a relationship. A relationship is something that is an active part of my life. Then how do we form friendship relationships? How friendships form? Now, this is a very interesting behavior pattern that we must understand. And it helps us to just look back into our lives and say, but how did the relationships that I have with friends happen? People spend time together. This is the first thing that happens. People spend time together. Even if you force people to spend time together, the chances that they become friends out of this as a result of this forced being together it's very high. They work together, they are in the same office, they are in the same working environment, in the same office building, maybe in the same office room or in the same office space, but life brings them together. The fact that they are being brought together by the circumstances makes them discover something about themselves in the other person. So they start talking. So how many children do you have? Two. Oh, also I have two children. How old are they? This older one is in grade 8. Oh, I've got one in grade 7. Which school? Menlo Park. Blah blah blah. And then we experience the connection of there's something about me in the other person. Or they play sports together, or they are at high school or at primary school, at university together, or they sit next to each other at some event that repeats itself. And the pattern is that people tend to sit at the same place again next time, or at church, whatever it might be. A lot of friendships actually that I worked with developed out of people being in hospital together. They were in the same ward next to each other and they had the same illness even, and they started to talk and they discover something about themselves in the other person. So when people spend time together, there's a high propensity for them to become friends. And not all people who spend time with any other person become friends. No, that's not. But there's a good chance of the relationship to develop when people are just physically in the same space for a lot of time. The second point is that people live in close proximity of each other. Think about all your friends. It will be very strange if you have friends that you see on a monthly 6-week basis that stay 6 hours drive from you. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And then if they stay 6 hours or 7 hours away, how often do you see them on Zoom or some of these chat apps or whatever it might be? It's just think about your friends. Where do they live? They live, most probably 80% of your friends live within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes away, but that's already pushing it. Then obviously the big one is shared interest. We do pottery together. We met at a music event, singing in a choir. We were on vacation and we stayed in the apartments next to each other and we met there. We met at church. Somewhere there was a physical activity that brought us together and we experienced something about ourselves and the other person and we became friends. What makes it and what breaks it? Simple. Now what you must do now is to start to focus and ask yourself a few critical questions. What makes a friendship work? And what breaks it? What makes it is physical distance, time together, shared activities, shared interest. That's it. That's it. End of this discussion. This is it. What makes it is the person is in close proximity from where I stay, work, or live. We spend time together, we work together, we play together, we go on vacation together, we have weekends together, whatever it might be, we spend time together. We have shared activities. In other words, we do things together and we have shared interests. Now, let me just give you a tip. If you want to become friends with somebody, just do these 4 things. Just do this. go and put yourself in a close physical distance from that person, spend time with that person, share activities, in other words, do things together, and find some common interest with that person and hammer those common interests. In other words, if we are both in cycling or in collecting some artwork or whatever it might be, hammer those shared interests, and that then brings the people closer to one another. So the building blocks: you want to become friends with somebody, physical distance is critical, spend time together, look at some shared activities, and hammer the shared interest that you might have with that individual. Then the question is, what makes it? We are still with what makes it. This is the most critical point. We approve each other's behavior. If we do not approve each other's behavior, all the above won't work. We can be neighbors, we can work together in the same building for the same company, we can have shared activities on the same project team for 4 hours a day, every day, Monday to Friday. We have shared interest in that we are both electrical engineers. If we do not approve each other's behavior, all of the above is worth nothing. Now we come to a very critical point in our discussion, the fact that behavior is pattern related. Our behavior manifests in patterns. So if we do not approve each other's behavioral patterns, we are in trouble. The relationship is not going to fly. It's not going to work. So that's what makes it. Now we have a look at what breaks it. Guess what? Exactly the same. Physical distance, the person is too far. Time together, relationship neglect. We just don't come. And every time we see one another by accident or sort of unplanned, we say, yeah, I thought of you last week and I wanted us to have tea or coffee and again I forgot. Yeah, it's fine. The point is, there's no time together. Shared activities, we start to irritate each other and the relationship becomes gray and it fades and we do not approve each other's behavior. There's an irritation point. Shared interest, not worth the effort any longer. In other words, the fact that we both collect artwork or we both have an interest in pottery or whatever it might be, is just not worth the effort anymore. Why? Because something crept in, and that is we do not approve each other's behavior any longer. And this could be a one-sided thing. So in other words, it can come from one person. So this and this and this are the things that gets me irritated. So it's on my side, I'm the problem. So I walk out of the relationship. I just let the relationship die on me because it becomes a hostile activity, experience to be with the other person, and our activities are not friendly, bringing us together anymore. It just moves us away from one another. Now, friendship as a relationship recovery strategy, this is what we do is when we are in a troubled relationship, and the relationship is important for us. We have this natural, I'm almost there to call it an instinctive thing to say, but let's move it to a friendship frame. Let me explain this to you in a minute. There's a business relationship between two business entities, and the business owners, they've been doing business for 5 years with one another and on a business-to-business level, and suddenly things go wrong. And it escalates up to the business owners. And then the one says, I'm going to invite him for a game of golf. So what do? they say the business relationship is in trouble. How do we fix this? We immediately take the critical role players that can redefine the business relationship. We move them to a friendship activity and we say, let's go play golf. And then let's go and play another game. Shall we play again in 10 days' time? And then once we have played 3 or 4 games of golf, we say, you know what, can we at some point talk about our business relationship, because there are a few things that we need to iron out. We do it all the time. How do we recover if people are married? And in many instances, they go for marriage counseling, and the advice from the counselor in many instances is to buy 2 bicycles and go for a fun activity every weekend. So what they do is they see this, and the couple would easily, even in themselves, do this to hold the pieces of the relationship together. They move their marriage to be pure friendship, and then they get it stable in the friendship frame, so that they can then from there work back into the other areas that makes up the portions of marriage. The same with a security relationship. I am in trouble at my work. I'm not qualified to resign and get out of the job. It's a one-sided relationship. I do whatever they say because I live in fear that I might lose my job. And now things go wrong. And suddenly I invite my boss to come and have coffee with me and to come play golf with me or play tennis with me or whatever it might be. So we have this natural sort of behavioral, collective behavior pattern to whenever a relationship is in trouble, we see friendship as the frame where we can anchor, fix it, get it stable, and then move it back to wherever it belongs. So if we look at our model, if any of these relationships, business, security, love, if any of them run into troubled waters, what we do is, what we should do, and it's a clever thing to do. There's nothing wrong with this strategy. We've been doing this for thousands of years, for thousands, if not more than thousands of years. And if you start reading the old books and old scripts, you'll see that if a king has a fight with another king about land, and this thing becomes a destructive situation, they try to become friends. They work around this thing of, let me send you a gift and let's bring our families together, and my daughter can get married to your son, and that kind of relationship recovery then happens here in the friendship frame. So what we do is we see the friendship frame of relationships, and this is how we have done it and we still do it. It's still one of the most practical and sort of functional ways of crisis recovering of a relationship. So we use this as an anchor point because it's easy, it's fun, it's fulfilling, it's for joy, it brings us together. There are many opportunities in the time we spend together to discover something about myself in the other person, and then to build on those building blocks. So what we do is, we have a business love relationship that is in trouble. There's a disconnect between the two individuals. There are some irritation points that start to build up, and we can easily then move it into friendship, get it stable in the friendship relationship frame. In other words, spend a lot of time just to become very good friends, and then allow the love relationship to recover out of the fact that we have a solid and a functional friendship. If there's a business relationship and there are some troubled waters and difficulties in the business relationship, we move it to friendship. Easy things that we do there: we spend time together, we find common interest, and we enjoy the time that we spend together, and we make it regular contact, and the relationship starts to become stable. So the same with the security side of things. If they become troubled, we move them to friendship. And this is a very clever thing to do. It's an immediate crisis management strategy. And once the friendship is stable, we can from there start to move it back to where it should be. But then always, if we talk about business and the business relationship is troubled, talk to the business relationship whilst playing golf or whilst playing tennis when we have a cold drink after the tennis game, or whilst we are out on a boat fishing, or whatever the activity might be, is talk to this problem here, because it's easy, it's relaxed, it's fun, we have a good connection. The same with love relationship. If the love relationship is in trouble, don't discuss the troubles in that troubled spot. Don't discuss it in the troubled environment. Discuss it whilst we are doing something that we enjoy as friends. And this is applicable to all the others. It's a magic way of an emergency a plan to salvage and to stabilize a troubled relationship. So this is where we get the relationship stable and working. It is very easy. Just do the things that create a functioning friendship relationship. It's easy. What do? We spend time together. We find common interests in our lives that we share. We do something that we enjoy. We do it together. We do it often. We do it regular. We make sure that we both enjoy the activity, and then in that way we get a stable friendship, sort of temporary friendship, stable relationship, and then we start working on the troubled areas in where the relationship is in trouble. But be careful though. Now it's bad that we must now sort of run into the end of our discussion with this, but relationships, friendship relationships can cause problems. Listen carefully. Friendships can easily become the breeding relationship for many evils. This is how people plan to rob a bank. They sit, they spend time together, they go fishing, they talk, they discuss. One of the friends might say, you know what, I see that the bank on the corner every evening at 6 o'clock, they load the cash into a cash transfer truck. And I was thinking of, how easy it might be to just rob that truck. The other friend said, yeah, no, I have guns. And I have a lot of guns. I've got heavy weapons. And this friend said, yes, I know exactly where they go and how they go around. And the next time they go fishing again, they pick up on that topic and they say, you know what, I've been thinking about this bank robbery thing. I think we can get away with it. So friends, and then that evil plan can become another adventure of a shared activity that they do together. They put together a fraudulent business practice. They are friends and they spend lots of time playing tennis, going fishing, go cycling, and they discuss and they talk and they talk. And the one said, you know what, I've got this business idea, but I'm not sure that it's so clean and above board. Oh yes, what is it? No, you know what, I can buy diamonds in Botswana. I can get them through the border, but I can't get them into the market in South Africa. And the other one said, you know what, I've got a friend whose dad is a retired diamond cutter and he's got the machines still at home. Maybe you could cut them and make them legal. Yeah, maybe we should talk to him. So the fact that they trust one another, the fact that they spend time together, it gives them the opportunity to start dwelling into things that should not happen. Or they drink too much. That's a common thing that friends sometimes do to the frustration of everybody else. Is when they get together, they just drink too much. So we must be very careful that our friendships must not take us into places where we shouldn't be. And they're all saying of parents where they always warn their children and said to their children, don't let your friends ruin your life is so true, because together we are influenced by the sense of partnership, the sense of a connection with somebody and the loyalty that we have. And we have the same language that we talk, can cause people to become involved with things that they should not be involved with. Most children that I have worked with had an introduction into drug abuse by their friends. It's they spent too much time with their friends, and then their friends introduced them to some form of drugs, and then it becomes a pattern, a new activity that they do as friends. So with that, thank you very much. Just a few things that I would like to highlight. If you want to make a screenshot, this is the time to make it now. We will obviously, we're more than willing to send the recording to everybody, but there's a free book that you can download, Shadowmatch Success for All, page 40 to 50, deals with the friendship frames that I have developed to help people better understand their relationships. So you can download it, go to www.shadowmatch.com. I think click on resources or books, and you will then go to the place where you can download those books free of charge. Then Shadowmatch relationship coaches, what the Shadowmatch system does, it compares the habits of people in a relationship with one another, and then it gives an opportunity for them to better understand the friction points that there might be between them, but it also teaches you how to not focus on the friction points, but how to turn them into a positive relationship asset. So if you would like to contact a coach that uses the Shadowmatch system as a relationship coaching platform, go to Shadowmatch, www.shadowmatchcoaches.com. There's a list of coaches. Select the one that you like, and they will be more than willing to help you through a relationship process of either rebuilding it, securing it so that the risk of the relationship to become a bit challenged is minimized, and they can also help you to build an existing relationship to be a very good and solid partnership going forward. And then obviously, if you have any questions, you can send the questions to info@shadowmatch.com, and I will either personally answer it or one of our team will answer it. All depends on what it might entail. If you want to become a coach, go to shadowmatchcoaching.com. That's it from my side. Lizette, I am back and over to you.
Thank you very much, Peter, for another insightful presentation. We really appreciate the research and all the hours that you put into getting us all informed and sharing your knowledge with everyone. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.